Hi, Hakan. Can you hear me? Hi, Charles. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Very
So
good.
I
Very.
got up on the way and I had a bit of trouble with my mic.
Oh, okay. Glad you're here. I'm looking at the list. Thank you again. You're a night owl and I'm an early morning person, so I didn't see your list until this morning. Thank you for sending that. I'm looking. I don't see Andy R on this list anywhere. This is not Anthony Bennett, right? No. Okay. So I'll have to get an email address from him when he comes back. All right. Very good.
Sorry, I haven't got the list in front of me, but it's not an Anthony Bennett.
Okay, no, I have the list in front of me because I've put it into my file to make sure we don't lose anything. Thank you. And there's Georgianne. Okay, she's on the list.
Yeah.
Hi, Georgianne.
Hi there. Nice to meet you at last, Rhonda.
Yeah, thank
I've
you.
heard so much about you from Jackie.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good. I already have the recording running. So we had mentioned that we were going to record this, and my tech gentleman will put this up on our website so that you will all have access not only to this session, but also the other two sessions that are coming up today. Just a warning in advance. Last Wednesday, I did a Windows update on my computer and it killed the controller on my computer. I am now coming to you from a tablet, which is not hardwired, and all of those fun things that could go wrong. If anything happens, I love you all, but the computer doesn't. And so thank you very much for your patience. I've been working all week to make sure this works. The recording is running. Everything should be okay. But if something happens, apologies in advance, just to make sure that you know that life isn't always perfect. Oh, Andy has left. Oh, we've lost
Oh,
it.
he's coming back.
Okay, I hope he'll be back. And Hakan, are you able to join us? At least that you can unmute and say hello, because we're not sure if you're there. Okay. We'll give it one more minute and then we'll get started, because usually when we get started, that's when everybody shows up. That's the way these things always work. So, oh, Hakan.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Are you?
Hi.
Go ahead.
I'm joining from Turkey. My English is so bad. I'm sorry for this situation.
That's no problem. Do you happen to speak German?
No,
No, okay. Many people from your country, I live in Germany. Many people from your country live in
The-
I thought maybe if you spoke German, I could help you with that, but my Turkish is not good. Yeah.
Okay.
That's wonderful. Okay. Well, let's see if Andy's coming back, and if not, we will go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome you all. You are the premiere session, the very first session of this new series. So congratulations for being part of the opening. And secondly, thank you so much for joining us and being with us here today. This is a brainchild between Charles and myself, which we are really looking forward to running for the next year. So we're starting today before the year ends, but these are all set up for the rest of the year, always on the second Wednesday. Today, just so we can keep track, is December 11th, 2024. And we are joining in the first session. We had said that what is important for us here is that we look at AI from a different point of view. I'm doing a lot with AI at the moment, and I find either people are all excited and the hype is huge and you have to be an expert and you have to be wonderful. And on the other hand, I find a lot of people who say, I don't know anything about this and I don't want to know anything about this, or I'm afraid of it, or whatever. And we said we need something for the rest of us who are all the nice people in the middle, like we are. People who want to be able to talk about this, have a safe environment to do so, but not to become AI experts. I am also not an AI expert. I just have a lot of exposure to lots of things. But we really want to talk about what is AI going to be able to help us with, because those of us here who are really interested in what our values are in the world and what kind of impact we are making and how our values play a role in that, what is the role that AI could play in that in addition? So that's what we're here to look at today. And we have an opportunity. I have 10 different AI tools that I have listed and would be able to talk to you about one of those. I have a way that we could just choose one of them by rolling a die. The other one, we could just say you have heard of something and you would like to talk about a specific one. That's totally up to you. I have all the links ready so I can put everything in the chat as well. But my question is, first of all, to the three of you who are here, what is it that you're interested in AI today? Because this is a session to help those of us who are here make not only improvements in what we know, but also to show how we're going to incorporate that with our values. So maybe Georgianne, you would like to start. We'll do the old ladies first thing, since you're the only lady in the room besides me. What is your idea about AI? What are you looking for, and how are you including that in your values?
Well, I'm not including AI, so I'm a complete beginner, and I want to understand what's good in it and how we can use it positively.
Mm-hmm.
Zoom, for example, none of us used it 15 years ago, and now we wouldn't do without it. So AI is no doubt the same.
Very, very good statement, and I'm sure you're 100% right in what you're saying. Yeah, I would agree 100%. And the whole world is just continuing to move forward. And I think as responsible people who want to make sure that things with digitalization in general, but AI for us in specific, are also used ethically, and that it's enhancing our values and not taking anything away from that. I think that's a wonderful way that you stated that, Georgianne. Hakan, what is your idea about AI? Can you unmute and tell us something about what you're doing with AI and with your values?
I have some ideas, but I have difficulty expressing myself in English.
Okay.
I am so sorry. I want to just listen.
Okay, fine. Can you tell me what kind of AI tools you already know about? Can you give me some names of tools? Have you used something already?
ChatGPT is first, and I am working education faculty and consensus I don't know, consensus is very useful tools, AI tools, and Story Jumper AI tools. Those are
those are tools that you know about and you use.
yes, yes,
Very good.
yes.
Thank you, Hakan. Good, wonderful. Charles, tell us what your view is on AI at the moment.
I'm pretty much alongside Hakan and Georgian actually. I do use a few tools. I mean, GPT, one or two more. I'm interested in, from a very practical point of view, in using any advanced language translation tools. I know there are a few around, and I've used basic ones to make World Values Day go multilingual over the coming year. And I'm not sure that, I'm told that's not a big challenge and that's fairly straightforward, but I mean, there must be better ways and, you know, not so good ways of doing it. And with Georgian, I'm basically, other than a bit of usage of those sort of tools, I don't know very much. I've taken part in a bit of a few sessions of debate and about the ethics of an AI and healthcare, AI and education and so on. But I really want to find ways of using AI positively, you know, to enhance my life and our collective lives.
Well, thank you very much. There are really good language tools. I don't have those in the list at the moment. I mean, I have hundreds of things in lists, but I picked 10 for today just to get it started. I will get back to you on language tools, and I can tell you the one that I've experienced in a very positive way for all of you is I was at the AI for Good Summit of the United Nations in May in Geneva. And we were in a building of the United Nations, and we sat in this big auditorium, and whoever was on stage, it didn't matter where they came from, they were speaking their language. We had big screens throughout the building where you could watch whatever was happening, and it was always English subtitles, always running at the bottom in real time, And if you were sitting in the room and you were sitting in front of the system that they have with the headsets and the microphone and everything at each desk, and you put the headphones on, you had the choice of 75 languages where you could listen. So if there was a Chinese person speaking Chinese and you were reading the English, I, of course, didn't turn into other things, but I know other people who did. And I spoke to one of the young men from the company that did this, and you had 75 languages running simultaneously with the person who was speaking. And when the tool was doing things in English and you could read it, and it realized that it had made a mistake or it hadn't understood something, it corrected itself as it went along. So there are wonderful things like that, Charles, that are already available and that are working extremely well. I will get back to you. I will be putting things in our group so that everybody will have access to that. But that's a very nice thing to be talking about. I will put down all the language things I know, and then people will be able to test them. Well, to give us something then for those of us who haven't seen it yet, I would suggest a tool that I use, and I think when I hear that you're in education, for example, Hakan, and that maybe you need things that are working in a way that is more than just ChatGPT, which everybody seems to have a feeling for. I would like to suggest that we look at a tool called Perplexity, and I will put it up on the screens and we will share it. But what I think is interesting about Perplexity is the fact that it, when you use it, it not only tells you whatever the answers are to whatever you've asked it, but it gives you sources to use that you can actually then go in and see where it's getting its information from. So let me just pull that up for a moment. And I'm always using the free versions of this. So these are not anything you would have to pay for or work with or whatever. You can always just use it the way it's shown at the moment. So let me share my screen, and you will be able to see, and you tell me if this is working well on my little tablet. So can you see this on my screen?
Not yet. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, okay, very good, thank you. Let me just move this out of the way a little bit so I can do some other things here. And I'm going to close these. This is, as I said, this is not my normal computer, which is why it's pulling everything up in German. Sorry about that, but that's not the problem. It will answer in whatever language we put it in. So who would like to ask a question of Perplexity? And when we do this, then you will see what I mean. As I said, I don't want to go into details. I just want you to give you the option for this. So who has a nice question that you would like to know from Perplexity, where it's not just answering the question, but it's knowing the sources that you get this from as well? Does anybody have a good idea for a question?
If no one's got a question, I could ask a question, or we could ask a question about the best AI language.
Okay.
Instant translation of text and words.
So that's the question I've asked. Just for those of you, the reason I don't use translation is because interpretation is the vocal, whereas translation is only the written. So I'm putting in interpretation because that's the higher level. And now we will see what happens when we click on this. As I said, I'm not using Pro, I'm just using the free version that you could all use. So now you watch what's going to happen. Because we have written in English, it's writing in English. And it is giving us this answer, and it's telling us different ones that you can use. And so you have a lot of those things. And notice it's also saying what you should be thinking about. So it's giving us additional information like integration and support and all of those things. And it is giving what it thinks are the best ones. And this one, for example, I have never heard of, but there are new things every day, so you never know. What the important thing is about Perplexity is it tells you where it's getting the information from. So you actually go in and you see the websites that it has used to get this information. So you're not only getting what the tool thinks is the right one, you are getting all of the sources, as you can see here. So you know, and if you need to actually say where things come from, I've talked to a lot of people who say, I don't want just something that's made up. I want to know where it comes from. And that's the thing. If you're looking for things like this, I think at the moment of the things that I know about, Perplexity is the right one because you see where it's getting the information from, and you can read from each of these individual things just by clicking on them and opening them as we've done here. And as I said, I have never heard of Boost Lingo, so who knows? Yeah, and every day you can go in and find new things. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Just basically how Perplexity works. That's all I wanted to show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to delve into best lingo, but in terms of Perplexity, I think that looks very good. I think the idea of giving sources is excellent, because that's something I find very frustrating in ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's why I thought many people tell me they haven't heard of Perplexity yet, and especially for people, as I said, who need to know where things come from. I personally think this is the best tool I know about on the market for doing that. Does anyone have any other questions about Perplexity? As I said, this is not teach everything about AI session. This is just to get us started.
Yeah,
Georgianne?
no,
Oh, Charles.
I think it addresses the issue from a values perspective. It addresses the issue of integrity and truth and the rest of it. So one does want to know the basis for what one's being told, and so that's very, very good. I think if one can dig down into that.
Georgianne, yes, yeah.
Yes, how how can we check the integrity of Perplexity itself? Who's funding it? What's the values behind it? What's its ethics?
Okay. I don't know those things, but I will look them up and I will tell you where those things will all be put afterwards. That's what this is for. This is a session for us to try to answer all the questions that you have. And I can't tell you that at the moment, but I will look into it and I will share it.
Thanks, Rhonda. And can I ask, can I not ask these things at quite a micro level?
Yes.
Like, I would like to know where peace education is happening throughout Uganda currently, and who are the leaders in peace education in Uganda currently, and what resources they use.
Okay.
So I'm just going to put that in.
Yeah.
And it keeps asking me to register because of
All right. Okay, great.
Okay.
Excellent.
So it's giving you here, and if you look at the list, it always pulls up the list on this side. So you can see you've got 10 different places where it's coming. It's doing it now. But depending on
really
how,
helpful.
and it will also give you other questions you could ask that go with that.
That's good.
For example, all right,
Okay.
what's happening in schools or whatever. So it's giving you some ideas, but if you say, you want something else, you want names, for example, you just write that in there and it goes in, goes the next level. So it just, every time you put in this question is called a prompt. That's the official name for things in AI. Whatever you put in here as the prompt, it will go in and do it. It will show you all of these things, and it will give you these extra things to think about, but not, you can ask different questions and it will continue and do whatever you're doing afterwards.
That's absolutely brilliant. So it means you can dig down as far as you want.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Good.
Good.
Can I stop sharing my screen? Hakan, is there anything you wanted to see about Perplexity?
No, thank you.
Okay, good. Then I'll stop sharing my screen. So as I said, what I wanted us to do was, number one, just be introduced to something new today. That was the one thing. But the other thing, of course, is to say, what does that mean for our values? You mentioned before, Charles, about the fact that there's integrity. What I've always loved about Perplexity is the sources have always been there. ChatGPT at the beginning was hallucinating a lot. The term for that is just making things up that don't really exist, which is part of what it's supposed to do, but it wasn't always clear what was true and what wasn't. Perplexity has never had that problem. It has always had the sources. So you always know where things are coming from. And that for me has always been a huge help with Perplexity. What else are you thinking about with your values? What else is important to you to make sure that when you're working with any kind of an AI tool in the future, what that's going to mean to you, and how's that going to actually help you do better things in the world? Because that's what AI is here for us for.
Well, for me, it's really helpful because I've been asked to help a head teacher work on peace education in Kampala. And I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I want to hear the success stories that are already there, what he can draw on from there. And, I worked on peace education for 42 years. So things will have moved on, and really to get the Ugandan needs and understand them.
Very good.
So that'd be really helpful. That'd be really helpful, Rhonda.
Wonderful. Wonderful. That's what we're here for. Haka, what is important to you about what you're doing in your education, for example, and what that means for what you want to be doing going forward with AI? Is there anything you'd like to tell us, or if you'd prefer, write in the chat? If it's easier to write than to speak, that's also good.
I prefer to write in the chat.
Okay.
While Hakan's writing in the chat, just the thing that occurs to me is the point Georgianne raised earlier, which is from a values point of view, it seems quite important to know where these tools are coming from in terms of their own integrity. You know, who's financing them? Do they have an agenda? What are the, you know, what's the, for instance, with this Perplexity, you know, where are there assumptions that are making that are being made in answering the questions? You know, we all suffer from we're told unconscious bias, and AI suffers from that really quite you would have thought in quite large part.
Yeah.
It's really picking up assumptions from us all as it accumulates its knowledge. If it's that sort of AI device. So I think where the context, how to, I suppose the question is how to judge, how to discriminate in looking at these tools, really, from a values perspective.
Well, an interesting thing is I'm putting something in the chat for you all now while Hakan's writing, but I'm putting this in for all of you to look at. This is I have my own Mighty network, which I call Compoleum, and I have set up a group inside this. It's like Facebook or something, but it's private. There's no spamming, there's no anything. I've been using this for years. This is a group, if you go in and you just put in your name and an email address you want it to use, everything that we will be doing in this Values plus AI equals Impact series, all of the follow-up, all of the lists of tools, all the things that we speak about here, I will be putting in this group, which means you can also go in and ask questions. You can go in if you find new things that you'd like to share with other people, because as I said, we want this to be a whole project, not only for this month, but then throughout 2025. And as I said, this boost lingo I have never heard of, although I've been doing this now for over a year and I've never heard of this one. So there's always new things coming up. So we need a place to keep up with things. And if you click on this, this is a link that will just invite you into the platform. As I said, just your name and an email address, you become a part of this group. And tomorrow, when I've taken everything from all 3 sessions that we've had today, I will be putting things in there. And then you can go in and see and make comments and all of those things going forward. So you'll always be able to see what's going on. You will also get the link as soon as everything is up to my YouTube channel. We will have a playlist specifically for these sessions. So there will be a place for you to go back and review these things if you want to see them again. So you'll have a chance to do all of those. Wonderful. Thank you, Hakan. That's great. I personally believe my biggest value in life is co-creation, which is why I always said to Charles when he and I met for the first time and I wanted to do things for World Values Day, I said, I want sessions where nobody talks. I want sessions where we do things together. And when so many people who joined me in the sessions on the 17th of October said, oh, we need more time to talk about this, then I said, we need to set this up because this is something that's ongoing. And as you so rightly said, Georgianne, we need to make sure that we keep up on these things and we need to share what we know and we need places to come and talk about these things. So for me, the co-creative aspect, not only of what we're doing, but the fact that AI helps us do that we can co-create many more things now, which is one of the things when I went to Geneva in May and actually was there and watched all of the things. I'll put the link in Compoleum as well, where you can see everything that happened at Geneva this past year. And next year, there will be the next conference. This was the 7th one. They've been having these AI conferences for years. I just had never been to one before. But I'm signed up to go next year in July again. And I think the important thing that we'll be able to do going forward is to make sure that the ethical things are being taken care of, that we can see what it is that we can be doing and how much AI can be helping us to do those things going forward. And that was why, for me, it was so important. And thank you again to Charles for helping get this set up, that we have this opportunity starting today and moving forward every month to just sit down and talk about these things, to see how things are progressing, to see what new things we can be discovering, to also say, this supports what I'm doing with the peace movement in Uganda or wherever else, or with the education movement in Turkey. I've done lots of things with various Turkish organizations, Hakan, and I realize how important it is for people in your part of the world to make sure you have the connection to everyone else. And that's the other reason I wanted to do this with World Values Day. Such a wonderful group of people. And I think we have the opportunity to really move things forward and to be doing it together, but be doing it together with AI and just seeing how we can benefit from that best. Okay. I had promised that this would be a 30-minute call. If you have to leave, I understand that. If you want to stay, I still have time to stay. If you have any other questions or any other things you'd like to discuss. And as I said, tomorrow morning, I will be putting everything in the Compoleum group that has been discussed in all 3 sessions. And in there, we'll also let you know when the videos are all up on the YouTube channel ready for you to look at. Is there anything else I can do for you today?
I like the idea of looking at specific examples of where, for instance, Georgianne mentioning the peace work in Uganda, specific examples where AI might have a practical benefit to our values work. So I was thinking, I guess originally more in terms, when we were talking about more in terms of our values in general and how we reinforce them, whatever. But practical application is makes it actually come alive to it and makes it more, the discussion, I think, more interesting. So I think that's a very good example. And hopefully we'll get more of those as we move along.
I do too, because for me, doing the things practically is the thing that's not happening at the moment. People are either being told it's this big, fantastic, whatever thing, or people are being told how terrible it is in the media, and nobody's just sitting down and actually looking at it and going through things and seeing how it works. And that's the way I'm learning it at the moment. And the gentleman I'm learning all this from, he just sits down and talks to us for 90 minutes and just opens the things and shows us what to do with them. That's the way I'm learning this at the moment. And I'm not planning to become an expert. I'm just trying to be well informed so I can pass this on to other people. And especially for things that we do with our values, I think it is so important because so many people have been saying, oh, this is terrible and it's going to take people over. Thank you so much, Hakan. I'm glad you're having a chance to go. And we hope to see you in another session soon. And we'll keep it in contact in Compoleum, okay?
Okay. Thank you for everything.
Okay, wonderful, Hakan.
I'm glad to meet. Okay.
Okay,
See you
take
soon.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, Georgianne, anything else we can do for you today? As I said, just a chance to get started with this. Thank you for being in the first session very bravely. Thank you so much. Yeah.
I'm really pleased. I feel it's given me something I can go away and get on with and use. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Because I've been hesitating. I've been asked to do this peace education in Uganda, and I've been hesitating, thinking, well, I wasn't sure what the hesitation was, but it's like I always like to do a really thorough diagnostic before I start something. I didn't know how to do it, not being on the ground. So this is very good.
And once you get into this, I'll be putting other things in the Compoleum about how you can get in touch with me if you need help with specific things, number one. But number two, there are also wonderful systems to teach whatever system you're in, how you write the prompts, so it learns to write the prompts that you need. So it's not that you always have to be the one to figure this out and think it up all by yourself. The machine can actually help you figure out what it is you have to ask, and then ask it, and then do it, whatever it is. So there are wonderful opportunities. Georgianne, if you're not using this much yet, many people say, think of this as an assistant, a person who has just come out of university and knows lots of things about technical things, for example, but doesn't know a lot about the peace movement in Uganda, like you do,
Right.
for example. And what you're doing is you're giving this assistant the chance to go in and do all the research and check all these things and put things together. And you're the one then checking it at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, if you think of it that way, because if you're not used to using a machine to do things, and I mean these machines talk to you now, and you can be coached by an AI. You know, there are all these things that are already happening. But if you're not doing that yet, just think of it as a personal assistant.
I love it. A research assistant.
Yeah.
And also you're making me think, you know, one of the main things in the work I do is helping people build up habits. So I'll coach people through a 21-day program. But if my research assistant can learn to do some of the mentoring, and so when I've run a session, let's say on pathways to positivity, work on it for 21 days, build up the habits, but I won't need to try and do it all.
Exactly.
Myself so thin. They can go on and have a coach help them.
Exactly.
I like it.
And it all exists already, and it's all already working.
Sorry, Georgianne.
Charles, go ahead.
I was going to say it was just reminded of the conversation I had about a year ago with Arthur Jones, who's coming along this afternoon. The latest one from I can't remember where it's from, somewhere near the west coast, I think, of America. And he was talking to me a lot about, he's a coach, and he was talking to me about work he's doing with automatic coaching systems, AI coaching systems, I guess. And that was something that apparently I hadn't realized. As I say, it was a year ago, and I knew even less about AI than I do now. He was in contact with a number of coaches who were actually setting up exactly the system that Georgianne was talking about.
Yeah.
They would have a session with the client, and then would set up automatic contact with them, going through exercise, you know, whatever. And that could be, you know, quite dynamic, because the AI coach wasn't, you know, had enough intelligence, had enough savvy to actually understand how to move the conversation on how to respond to various questions. So, and I never went out myself. I was really interested in the idea. His idea was saying, you know, really, coaches are going to have to move to a whole different level, and it's good, but a lot of the routine stuff, you have people coming back, you know, week after week or month after month, go through the same stuff with them. You know, in a way that'll be consigned to history, and
Yes.
it'll just add value, and either you'll add the value or you won't. If you won't, then you're not going to be in business anymore. But if you're adding the value, then it extends your reach. You can delegate all this routine stuff.
That's great. We've
yeah.
all wanted 48 hours in a day, now we'll do it. But this will be done by the research assistant and the coach. Great.
Like
Well, the interesting thing that happens with that, just so you have an idea of what that means, is what they do is there's a system in ChatGPT where it says you build your own GTP. And what you do is you put in everything about you, your website, your LinkedIn profile, books you've written, talks you've done on video, whatever you've got, all of the things that come from you specifically. And ChatGPT works out your own GTP. So then when people go in and use that and they ask a question, it only says things that you would say, because it's only basing its input on what it is that you have given it to use. And that's the way these things work. So what you're doing is you're building your own GPT, basically. And then it works the same way that Perplexity did. You know, somebody goes in and writes a question or speaks a question if they prefer to use the audio functionality. They go in, they say something, and the GTP answers the way you do. And I have seen this with people that I know personally, coaches, very big coaches in the world, like Marshall Goldsmith, who has taught his own GTP. And that's what happens. The things when people first start working with him, they go in, they work with his GPT. And then when they really, you know, when they have things where they really want to talk to Marshall himself, then of course that's the higher level things. That's the very distinctive things that the GTP doesn't perhaps know. But those things have existed already for quite a while. And now it's very easy for you to go in and build your own GTP. And there are people who can help you do that. I can't do it yet, and I haven't done it for myself, but I know people who could help you with that if you're interested in having one done.
I'm going to need to fly now.
You do that. Thank you
Lovely
so
to
much,
meet you
Georgia.
at last. Bye.
Okay,
Bye,
thank you again. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care. And have a nice Christmas.
Thank you.
So, Charles, how are things?
Very well. No, all good. I thought that was very interesting, Rhonda.
Mm-hmm.
A bit disappointing, but not totally surprising. But I thought there'd be three or four turning up. So a little bit disappointing, I guess. But I mean, what's the point of being disappointed? It is what it is. And there were, you know, it was good to see Georgianne. And so you've got a real beginner. I mean, not that she much less than I do. And you know, Hakan hopefully will have picked up. I would guess he understands English better than he.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So I thought that was good, Rhonda.
Good.
Can I ask you whether was it what you expected? Is it along the lines of you expected? I mean,
well, let's put it this way. The fact that I love facilitation and I often go into rooms where I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't come with a lot of expectations. I just want to make sure that those people who are in the room get something that is good for them. And that's why I made sure that I set up the group in Compoleum, because as I said, not everybody will get to come to all 3 sessions on any one day. And besides having the YouTube channel, which will be easy, which my gentleman will set up tomorrow then, we have this place to actually come in and do these interactions, which I think is important, because if we're only doing this once a month, or maybe we will decide we want to do it more than once a month, I don't know. We will see what happens when it gets started. But I was so upset because my computer died last Wednesday, and I thought, what if I can't do this today? I don't have a new computer yet. As I said, I'm still doing this on a tablet. And I thought, what if this isn't all going to work? But now it is all working, even on a tablet, you know, which is great. And so I'm looking forward to the next 2 sessions this afternoon. And I will, as I said, I will have my gentleman edit these things and get them all. We've set up a new playlist on our YouTube channel with the photograph that we have of the man and the sun and the robot on the ground, like you can see on the website. So people will see that and know automatically that that is the right list for them to look at. And I will be able to put in the actual links then in Compoleum so people can go directly to those videos. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking at this.
I think it's, you know, I think it's absolutely timely. Let's see how it goes. But I think, thank you very much for, you know, putting aside and dedicating a large amount of your time to this, because I'm, you know, very grateful to you as a, you know, as a user, and as someone who can potentially benefit from it, and obviously from the point of view of World Values Day as well. I think it's great, and I think it'll be very interesting to see how this unfolds.
I'm really looking forward to it, because I think, as I said, so many new things happening all the time. We will never run out of things to talk about. You know, there will always be new things coming up, and people will be able to say, oh, but now I heard you can do this with that, and whatever, the way I'm hearing in my groups at the moment, people who are more advanced already, and they're coming and saying, oh, now you can try this and now you can try that. And that's where I want people to get to this point where we just have this nice, good interaction here, and always keep in mind, you know, what are the values part of this, because that's the part of the discussion that's not going on in a lot of other places that I've seen so far, at least. Yeah.
That's going to be interesting to see how that part, because that, as you say, that's really not taking place as I understand it too. Not, but I'm told by you and others, and that's going to be a very interesting angle, really. More than an angle, I think it's very
well, and it goes very well with the things that are at the AI for Good Summit, because they talk about the ethics and the governance and all those things there as well. So
from a values perspective,
really goes hand in hand. Excellent. Well, then I will stop this call, and then you and I will see each other this afternoon if you can make it at 1 o'clock your time. Yeah. And see who else comes. And as I said, I'm not worried about it being a few people. I would rather have a few who are really interested than people, you know, tons of people coming in. And especially for the first day, it's maybe nice that we don't have tons of people coming in. Yeah.
I think so. And if you want to send out after the last one today, if you want to send out something to not only the ones that turned up, but to the whole list of people that registered, it might be good to do that.
Yes, that's why I asked you for those, and I've got them in my file, which is what I did on October 17th. The next day I also sent things to people. And so then I will be sending them, and I will invite them to come into the Compoleum group, even if they couldn't come today for whatever reason. So they won't have to wait a whole month. They could actually be coming in and doing other things before that as well.
And I think I'm sure you'll do this anyway, but you know, in that I've passed on the email addresses to you from Eventbrite. You probably need, either we do it through Eventbrite, which we could do. I can send them out, or we just, or if you want to do it directly, which I think that's fine.
I'll do it directly, because then I can put in the Compoleum link and all the other things, and then people will know. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. But you just put the disclaimer saying that, you know, if you don't want to receive these emails or whatever.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
The stuff that MailChimp puts on, and the stuff that I think puts that on its messages, because it's already got the permissions.
Yeah, my system also has this unsubscribe thing at the bottom, so people can do that automatically through our system. That's no problem. Yeah.
But I think it's fine. I don't think you need to worry about that.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's lovely. I think it's great. Look forward to seeing you.
Wonderful. Then I'll see you later this afternoon. Thank you so much, Charles. Take care.